Ever wonder how one company managed to get into, well, pretty much every part of our lives? From the soap we use to the detergent in our washing machines. Today we're cracking open the playbook of a true titan of industry, Procter Gamble, to see the powerful and surprisingly simple system they use to build an empire. So just think for a second about your morning routine. The shampoo you used, the toothpaste, maybe the diapers you put on your baby, or the laundry soap you threw in the wash. What's the one thread connecting all of those things? Well, for a staggering number of us, the answer is they're all made by one single company, Procter Gamble. I'm talking Crest, Pantene, Pampers, Tide. Their brands are literally woven into the fabric of our daily lives. And when I say woven in, I'm not kidding. Get this. P&G products are in an incredible 98% of all American homes. I mean, that's a level of market saturation that's almost impossible to imagine. It's just total dominance. So you have to ask, how on earth did they do it?
Well, I can tell you it wasn't a lucky break, and it definitely wasn't magic. P&G's unbelievable success is built on a really deliberate, a really time-tested, and, a replicatable system. It's a set of rules they've been following for more than 100 years.
And that system is exactly what we're going to explore today, using the book Winning with the P&G 99 as our guide. This book really breaks down the core philosophies that took a tiny soap and candle company and turned it into the global giant we know today. Okay, so what is this grand system? It all boils down to four fundamental pillars. Think of these as the absolute bedrock of P&G's entire culture and business strategy. And here they are. First, the consumer is boss. Second, the product is king. Third, the brand is everything. And finally, number 4, the long-term view. Let's dig into each one. All right, first up, and you could argue this is the most important one, is the idea that the consumer is the ultimate authority. At P&G, this is so much more than just a catchy slogan. It's a genuine obsession that drives every single thing they do. In fact, one of their official guiding principles says it flat out. The desires of the consumer are law. Just think about that. They don't just listen to customers. They treat their needs and their wants like they are non-negotiable commands. But here's where it gets really fascinating. P&G takes this idea to a whole other level. They were one of the first companies to do what's called field research. And by that, I mean literally sending researchers into people's homes just to watch them go about their day. They're not just looking for what people say they want. They're hunting for those little frustrations, those problems people don't even realize they have. You want a perfect example? The no-drip bottle cap. We all just take it for granted now, right? But it was invented simply because a P&G researcher saw someone get annoyed by that little dribble of soap running down the side of the bottle. The customer never asked for a solution. P&G just saw the problem and solved it. Now that is putting the consumer first. Okay, so that leads us right into the second pillar. Because all that amazing consumer insight is totally useless if you can't actually deliver a solution. And at P&G, the product is king. A fantastic product is the ultimate payoff for all that research. This quote here just captures their whole philosophy perfectly. Great products are not just happy accidents. They're the result of a deep, relentless focus on R&D, on science, and on pushing technology forward. And I mean, just look at their history. They don't just enter markets, they basically create them. Ivory soap back in 1879, the first soap that could float. Tide in 1946, which completely changed how we do laundry. Pampers in 56, which changed parenting forever. Head & Shoulders in 61. Every single one of these was a game changer that solved a huge problem for people. So, you've got this deep understanding of your customer, and you've got a superior product. The big question is, how do you connect the two? And that brings us to pillar number 3. The brand is everything. This is all about building trust and creating an emotional connection that goes way beyond just the physical product. And in this area, P&G literally wrote the rules. Way back in 1931, they came up with this revolutionary idea called the brand management system. And believe me, it changed marketing forever. The big breakthrough was this. Instead of having one big marketing department for all their products, P&G decided to treat every single brand, Tide, Gillette, Crest, all of them, like its own separate little company. Each brand got its own dedicated manager, whose one and only job was to make that single brand a success. And this leads to something that sounds, Well, kind of crazy, but it's absolutely brilliant. Internal competition. P&G's own laundry detergents like Tide and Sheer are encouraged to be fierce rivals. It sounds nuts, right? But what it does is it forces each brand to be the absolute best it can be and to focus on a very specific type of customer. By competing with themselves, they end up boxing everyone else out and achieving total dominance in a category. Finally, none of this, absolutely none of it, would work without the fourth and final pillar, the long-term view. You just can't build these kinds of iconic brands if you're only worried about this quarter's profits. This principle says it all. Their decisions are guided by the belief that sustainable, long-term success is way more important than a quick, short-term win. And this gives them the patience to make these huge, decades-spanning bets on the future. Pampers is the ultimate case study here. P&G spent over 10 years developing the disposable diaper. They were losing money for years before it finally took off and became the global giant it is today. I mean, most companies would have given up ages ago, but P&G's long-term view allowed them to see it all the way through. So, after all that, what's the big takeaway from the P&G system? Well, it's a formula that's actually pretty simple to understand, but it's incredibly powerful when you put it into practice. These are the 4 pillars that built an empire. First, you have to obsess over your consumers' real needs, especially the ones they can't even tell you about. Second, use what you learn to build a product that is undeniably better than anything else out there. Third, wrap that amazing product in a powerful brand that people trust. And finally, do it all with patience. Always play the long game. This simple formula created one of the most dominant companies of the 20th century. Which, leaves us with a pretty big question. In our crazy world of social media, AI, and constant change, are these rules still the key to success? Or is a whole new playbook being written for the 21st century? Hey, thanks for digging into this with us. If you got something out of it, do us a huge favor. Hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives just like this one. We'll see you on the next one.